we're here with another Tech Tool Playground, and I'm here with Julia Berge, correct? Am I remotely close on your name pronunciation? I'm always self-conscious to say it. And just tell us again who you are and where you teach.
Yes, I'm Julia Berge, and I teach at Central Valley High School, that's just south of Grand Forks.
Okay.
I teach German and English.
Fantastic. And we're going to get some tips from you about how to make our Google Classroom more productive for us as teachers, save us some time, increase our productivity, increase feedback for students. So what are you excited to share with us?
You know, first of all, I think Google Classroom can be a little scary if you've never really looked at it, or if you look at it, it just seems so overwhelming as a new tool. And I do know it takes a little bit of time to just kind of figure it out and see how it works. And, you know, there are so many people around that have asked me, I swear, the same question, you know, every month. And I feel like, you know, you should get it by now. But I love technology. For me, it's really easy to get into it and use it. And I know others just use it sporadically. And I know for those people, Google Classroom can be really scary. But I really want to encourage everybody to not be afraid and to go into it. Because once you really use it effectively, it is such a great tool for your effectiveness as a teacher. It cuts down on time. It is a really, really awesome tool. I have really started to realize that using technology is a lifesaver in teaching right now in this current age, I think. So I just wanted to share a couple of things. The three things I wanted to talk about were a grading tool for Google Forms quizzes, and I wanted to talk about another tech teacher, the tech girl. Her name is Alice Keeler, who has a great blog and something that she does that I've taken over. And then a homework tool that I wanted to share about.
Fantastic. And that's a great just reminder to ourselves of be a little patient, but we're never going to get better at using a tool unless we just dive in and start using it. But it is scary the first time. All right, so I see Flubaroo here.
Yes, I agree. And I think the best part of Google Suites is quizzes, creating a Google form. And I know in Google Form there is an add-on or a part that actually allows you to make the form a quiz where you can type in the correct answer. And Flubaroo almost does the same, but it's a little bit different. Basically, what you do is you don't make your form a quiz using that section in Google, but what you do is you actually submit the quiz as your answer key with all the correct answers, and then you add the Flubaroo extension to your Chrome browser. And what that does is on the Google Form sheet where you have all the answers, and I thought about pulling one up, but I can't because it has student's name on there. But anyway, so you get to the answer sheet of your Google quiz, your Google form, you run this add-on, and it does all the analysis. It highlights low points, it highlights struggle points, and then you can have these results shared with students as well. So you can actually email them out to students. You can decide whether you want the answer key included or not, and you can even type a message in there like, ooh, this was horrible, let's study again and do a retake, or good job, everybody. So I really like the Flubaroo add-on, and I think that's probably the easiest way to start. If you are already taking quizzes in Google, the Flubaroo add-on would be great.
And so this is an add-on that I would use, like that I would add to Google Sheets or to Google Forms. Like, where do I add this? So can you even just show us that?
Yes. So once you create your quiz, here will be your quiz, and it's just going to be titled whatever. When students submit it, it collects all the responses, and you'll find the responses over here in your response sheet, and that'll bring you to your Google Sheets, and that is where you'll be adding the extension. So you will go to add-ons.
But we can see the add-on button, so it's still loading a little bit, but you can see that add-on button, and what you'll do is click on that, and I would assume, Julia, that you have like a list of add-ons, but you'll have an option toward the bottom that says Get Add-ons. And yeah, it's finally working there. So you can get add-ons there. And when you click on that, you'll be able to search or just look at the add-ons that are available for Google Sheets. For this help example, you would actually take the quiz yourself, is what you said, so that that becomes your answer key.
Correct. And then I can go to the Flubaroo add-on here, and I'll have to enable it. And once that is done, I can actually run it. Now, when I try it, it's going to tell me that I can't run it because I don't have any results. That's all you're going to do. You're going to click Grade Assignment, and then you're going to click Next, Next, Next. This is my answer key, Next, 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 and then it does all the magic for you.
Fantastic. And so then anyone subsequent who fills out that form, it fills into that Flubaroo analysis.
You know, it does very much, you know, almost the same that the Google form, the quiz section does in there. But the great part here is that analysis sheet with low points, with high points, and you get the option to email out grades, which I think is great. And then you have all these options here too. So I think that's a great add-on to start with if you haven't done any Chrome extensions yet.
That's awesome. So I can, as a teacher, I can just use the regular quiz feature in Google Forms. But if I want a little bit more analytic power, if I want a few more communication tools that would allow me to really share that data back with the student, and that's really the point, right? For the student to know how they're doing in the class, Flubaroo just takes that analysis and that data portion up a few notches above what just your standard Google form can do on its own.
Exactly. And you know how I talked about effectiveness of Google in the teaching environment? I mean, emailing this out and collecting all this data, that's 12 steps into. And that is, you know, one of those things that really makes teaching more effective right now. And where I learned some of these things is from this girl. I don't know if you guys have heard about her, but Alice is a great resource, and she has a blog, and she posts about a lot of things. And she also recently posted about the comment bank in Google Classroom. Darcy, have you heard of, or what are those grading add-ons called?
I've looked at Doctopus.
Yes, Doctopus is one.
Yep, Doctopus and Grubrix.
And I have looked into those tools that you just said, and I find them, I don't know, maybe I didn't look deep enough, but I found them really confusing, and they didn't work for me. But this really worked for me. Basically, all you do here is you create a comment bank, and then when you are in your Google Classroom going through assignments, you add comments that you feel like you commonly add to an assignment, like, oh, you know, you got to look at your citations here, or do this, or do that, and then you can just insert them into your Google Doc that you're grading. So what I did is I created in Google Drive, I created a folder called Common Bank Links. And, you know, sometimes, or a lot of times, I see problems with citations. So I found an explanation on how to do that. And in my comment bank, my Alice Keeler comment bank, I share the link to this picture. So when I am like, you know, check your citations, students click on it, and right away it is explained. Or another thing I have, you know, we talk about run-on sentences, and I have some students that write paragraphs that are like, you know, that write sentences that are a paragraph long. And just for me to say, you know, fix your run-on sentence, a lot of times, you know, well, sometimes they know, sometimes they don't, but I don't know if they know or don't.
Right.
So insert the link. I just have to click at it. It's one quick link, and they look at it, and here you go. This is how you fix it.
That's amazing. So instead of you having to rewrite the same feedback over and over again, which also frequently happens, you have this bank of responses that you could also use those, right, for a mini lesson in class. Oh, and look at that formatting reminder. Oh, that's glorious. My English
Right? And then you don't always have to
pattern.
explain it. You don't have to reteach it because you already
Yeah.
know you taught it. It's like, here's your reminder, fix it. And it's so easy.
That's really cool. I'm going to put up the link. I've pulled up that Alice Keeler blog about the Google Classroom and how to create this classroom feedback bank. So I will put the link to her blog as well right in the video description. So if you're seeing this and you're like, man, I want to create that, I will have the link right to Alice Keeler in the video comments. That's a great one. I'm going to go in and add that.
That's one of my favorite ones. Another great one that I do is from somebody else. And this is really awesome. I started it at the beginning of this year, and it works like a charm. Basically what it is, whenever a student doesn't do an assignment, they fill out a Google form. It takes them 28 seconds. The Google form just says, you know, what's your name? What subject are you in? Why did you forget your assignment? And I tell them, I forgot is not an excuse. You know, you have to tell me, you know, I give an example with my little son. Like, I was busy playing blocks, so I didn't get to my math assignment. Like, I tell them, you have to tell me why you didn't do it. And it takes them 25 seconds. They click turn in, and then the magic happens. There's something set up, and this blog tells you about how to do it. There's something set up that automatically takes that Google form input and plugs it into the letter that I designed. And then it also, without me doing anything, automatically sends an email to the parents with this letter that says, Dear Mrs. Darcy, I would like to tell you that I failed to hand in my English assignment. My grade dropped to 78% because I was being lazy. Sincerely, your son. So they know that they have to fill it out for their parents. And every time they forget to do an assignment, their parents are getting an email. And I know that parents check their emails too. They don't always respond, but students, they hate this because it's super effective. I hardly have anybody forgetting their homework assignments.
I really thank you for that link. I will also put the link to that article that you shared earlier, the missing homework. So what you're saying is you've created a missing homework Google form that's the same form. And every time someone is missing an assignment, they have to fill out that form the day the assignment is missing.
Correct. This is what it looks like. And it doesn't take a lot of time. You know, you just type in, well, I didn't do the teacher part because it's just me. So student, and then I have a drop-down link with all of my students. Subject, it's just English or German. Reason why. You know, when I say go to Google Classroom, check your assignment, if they didn't do it, it takes them as long to fill it out as it takes for others to check their grade. Really quick. It doesn't take up any more time. And all I have to do is click one button, and all the magic happens.
That's fantastic. So for a teacher, I would set this up at, say, the beginning. Well, I could set it up at any point, but it would be very convenient to set it up at the beginning of the school year, because I'm assuming this connects to like another Google sheet that has the student's name, and then that links to a parent's email address. And I can see some of that information in the article that you're scrolling through. So, but once you have that database set up, then it's set up for the whole year. So it's the kind of thing that might feel like some legwork up front, but man, well, because parents want to know why and when their child is missing work. And this I love, Julia, because it takes the burden, instead of me, the teacher, having to take time to remind the child and to remind the child's parent. The child is telling their parent.
Exactly. And, you know, to add to what you just said, it takes, you know, it might look a little complicated right away, but this is really a great tool on how to set it up. And once you set it up, you basically carry it over to the next year. All you have to do is, instead of Johnny, you erase Johnny, you write in Timmy, change the parent email address, and you're good to go. So you don't have to recreate anything. You just change the name and you go. So it's super simple. Like even if there's a tech person at a school, they could set it up, share it with the teachers, and there's the document.
That's a great tip. I have the link to that article that Julia was referencing. And so that link directly to that blog post is also in the video description. So just go down there and then that has the step-by-step how-tos. I can see why you love Google Classroom though, because you've cultivated this system of very interrelated but separate systems that help you do things in Google Classroom more efficiently. So you've got clear forms that help you provide data back to students. You've got built-in feedback tools that give richer feedback to your students, so you're not having to repeat yourself 50,000 times, but kids are getting more specific feedback, and parents are getting more specific feedback about where their child is at in that process. So it's no wonder that you're a convert, that you're a believer in the Google Classroom, because you've made it work for you instead of you having to take all this time. You've figured out some maximization tools.
Yes, and I think that's exactly the key. It's about maximizing your time. And if you are just starting with this, maybe, as you said, like following Alice Keeler on Twitter, or just picking up one of the things, maybe start with the Common Bank, and after 3 weeks, when you feel like that's going well, look at one of the other things. Because I do know it takes a little bit of time to get into them and to try them out, but I think it is a lifesaver. I teach in a small school district, so I don't have any repeat classes. I have 6 different classes in a day, and everybody here does. And it is, it's just all about organization, I think, and being effective, and I love it. But you need to find tools to make that happen. And for me, technology really has opened up those doors, too, to be an even better teacher and to reach out to students even better and to differentiate and to just make sure that every student gets what they need, too. And to keep parents on the plate, too, to communicate so frequently. So I think that has been really awesome.
It's very clear that you're keeping students informed, you're keeping them in the loop, and you're keeping them engaged. You're keeping parents in the loop and keeping them informed. And you're also, to your point about teaching so many different preps, you're also keeping it so that teaching is a reasonable thing for you, so that you're not, so tied. So I appreciate, because of all the things that you do for your students and the parents in your classroom, that you took your time to share these really great tips with us. I'm excited to go and learn these things.
You're welcome. Not a problem at all.
All right. Well, thank you for those Google Classroom maximizing tips, and we'll see you next time.